it's Teresa. So I'm just driving and I had a thought. What is something I wish I knew 5 years ago that I know now? And I think really what it is that if I just would have trusted God and really did what He said and was guiding me to do in my heart, that it would work out and that He knows exactly what He's doing and He knows the best path for me. And there's a second thing tied to that is I wish I would have known 5 years ago that when I do trust the Lord and listen to what He has for me to do and then take those steps of faith, no matter how small, that He's going to provide for me. He's going to pour out His provision supernaturally. All I have to do is show up. He's going to lead me to a door. He's going to open it. And all I have to do is walk through. Let me give you an example. So this past couple of years, one of the things the Lord made me do, first of all, is move back to my mom's house. And it was for two reasons. Number one, it was to help her out because she was clearly showing signs of early dementia. And second of all, it was for me to have a place to live rent-free while I was launching my online business. That didn't make it sound attractive to me because my mom and I have been relatively estranged pretty much my whole adult life. And even since adolescence onward, I didn't really ever have a close relationship with my mom. It was super tense. We're like oil and water. We're so different. Honestly, she had been pretty emotionally abusive to me. And quite honestly, I was terrified. Even at my age, I was terrified to move back to her house. It kind of felt like I was going back to the scene of the crime. So I did know, though, that God wanted me to do that, and I know enough to obey Him. But I was scared, and I was upset, and I was begging Him. I was praying, please give me the strength to do this. And from literally the day I moved in, my mom was extremely stressful, contentious, controlling, even vile at times. And so having a childhood trauma background with her and then moving back in, it was going from trauma to trauma to trauma. It was really stressful. And there was many nights when I failed. I did not have patience. I would argue back with her, even though I knew better. And I would go to bed repenting and forgiving her and praying for God to give me the strength to get through another day. So finally, what happened was that I realized I wasn't going to be able to do that long term because I had to earn a living, and my mother was really starting to require like round the clock care. So we realized she had to go to assisted living, and I had to find a way to make enough income that I could really, really get my own place again, which was very expensive, as many people know today. And being self-employed, it was especially harrowing. So I started putting myself out there to find a job. And after 3 job interviews, the fourth one was the magic one, and got that job, and it was really very much a godsend because I was essentially managing a wellness center, a startup center, and I was earning enough money that I was able to qualify to get my own place, and I needed a place that had enough space for me to see clients there for my practice, and it all happened. It all came together, and some other blessings came. Although I was very, very stressed out and really in a state of some PTSD from being with my mother. And the job itself was also pretty stressful in some ways. Not the job duties, but the owner and like political and lack of communication and interpersonal stuff. And I stayed there for a year and a half, and then I left just a few months ago, and trusting the Lord yet again, and He's provided many, many clients for me since I left, like almost instantly as soon as I left there. But the key thing I'm trying to say, and I haven't written this down to be a little bit more cohesive when my messaging here, is basically I took steps of faith to live with my mom. I still don't know fully how the Lord was refining me through that, but I do have some more insight. It has to do with early childhood stuff, like really early, like newborn onward, and healing some traumas that I went through, and I really got that. It also had for me to come closer to my mom, and ironically, even though she is less present because of dementia, I am absolutely closer to her than I've ever been really my whole life. And those are all blessings that came from the Lord for me taking steps of faith. So I was kind of forced. He made it so I had no choice but to trust Him and do what He said. And I did. And He blessed the socks off me. Not without trial, not without refining, which I was refined, but miracles unfolded, and miracles continue to. So I wish I would have known 5 years ago that if I just trust the Lord, even if I'm afraid, even if it's going to be hard, He's always got a good reason. Father knows best. And I would want to leave that with everybody. If you're facing a challenge and you know God wants you to take a step that feels really scary, feels overwhelming, and maybe requires a lot of faith and a lot of perseverance on your part, and you know it's going to be uncomfortable, I'm encouraging you to do it, because He knows exactly what we need when. He leads us through the refining process that we need so that He can form us into the vessel He wants to use for His kingdom purpose. And when He has a kingdom purpose on your life, He is going to pour out all the resources that you need to do that. And you're going to be blessed. You're going to be blessed because it's your heart's desire. You're going to be blessed because you're going to be profited by it. You're going to receive financial prosperity, I don't know what other kinds of prosperity you might be needing. You're going to receive wisdom, strategy from the Lord, peace, joy, excitement, creative expansion. All these things happen. So that's what I wish I would have known 5 years ago. Trust God, even if I'm scared, even if I know it's going to be a refining process, because amazing blessings are coming on the other side of that. For me, one of which is now the direction this channel is going, which is trauma to treasure, which is helping people go from trauma and chronic illness to all the way to walking in God's kingdom calling on their life and receiving the outpouring of His kingdom treasure over our lives, His kingdom abundance. No small feat. But God wants His people freed from the bondage of past trauma and chronic symptoms like chronic pain and chronic fatigue and illness and all these different things, so that we have the energy and the ability to step up and walk forward in the path that He has for us. So, faith. Take the steps God's calling you to make. He's going to shower your life with blessings. And let me know in the comments, what do you feel God's calling you to do? What do you know in your heart that you were born to do in this life? But what's been stopping you? And because that's what we're going to be helping people with, is getting free of that stuff for His glory and our blessing. Thanks so much. God bless.